I'm Scott Fishman,
I'm John Dwoskin.
and this is the 7-Minute Salesman.
Welcome, everybody.
Hey, John, what's going on?
Fish, good morning. How are you?
Doing great today. It's beautiful out. Nice 50-degree weather. Dark, gloomy.
Overcast. Looks like it's about to rain.
Yes. And now that the weather update's out of the way, folks.
Yes.
What are we going to talk about today, John?
Well, I think we should talk about how to get organized. Not that most people don't know how, but I think it's some good reminders on how to maximize not only your time and your schedule, but what you put your attention towards and how you get shit done.
Yes. And
Yeah.
John, it's funny that you mentioned this because someone came up to me today. They said, what is a tip you can give everybody that we work with on business? And, you know, it's so kind of obtuse in the way I said it. I said, but how you start is how you finish, which means how you finish is how you start. So think about at the end of
Oh, I
the
like
day,
that.
like do a journal at the end of your day, like what happened today, who are my hottest clients to follow up with tomorrow, what's the first thing I have to do tomorrow, what's my schedule going to look like tomorrow, so that way when you come in, you have it all laid out for you.
Yeah.
You're finishing how you want to start tomorrow, and it's just a circular thing, but it makes so much sense because you're cauterizing your day, number one, but you also have a plan going into the next day. So when you're driving into work, you know exactly what you're doing. You're not getting in there, and we always talk about getting on the treadmill when it's already turned up to 7.
Right.
You know, it's really hard if you don't work your way in. So this way you don't have to like jump into the middle of your day. You already know your day started the night before.
You know, Fish, I love every word you just said, and I subscribe to that 100%. And I think we should spend a couple minutes talking about why people resist creating a plan, right? I mean, we talk, you know, we've talked on the show about creating long-term plans and this, but here we're just talking about kind of like a 12 to 24-hour plan. And it takes probably what you just said, it probably takes maybe max 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And saves you a ton of time. I mean, we have an episode a long time ago. We were giving everybody a free gift of time and hours. So why is it? I think it's worth talking about why to the listeners, the 7-minute listeners. Why do people procrastinate around planning?
I think it's very simple. Accountability. If you put it down and you put a plan on paper and you don't hit it, you failed.
Yeah.
So if you don't put it on paper, you're never going to fail. But you're also never going to try. You're never going to succeed. It's like if you want to lose weight, actually put together a plan of losing weight. Don't just say, yeah, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. Because if you don't put a plan together and you don't know how you're going to do it and you don't measure it, you don't have your SMART plan in place, you're never going to actually succeed at doing it.
I agree. I want to throw out a challenge to the 7-minute community to take at least a minimum of 5 minutes or a maximum of 5 minutes to really just plan out your day and do exactly what Fish just said. I think that is absolutely critical. Even if you have to put it in your calendar at the end of every day or the beginning of every day, spend 5 minutes planning. Spend 5 minutes planning before you even walk into the office, when you're in your car, before you leave your house. Wake up 5 minutes earlier. Do something. And if you can attach that to an accountability partner, that is huge too. I see huge results. We've talked about this on the show before too. But the whole planning and accountability, I think if salespeople or business people could nail this, then, I mean, you know, they could grow their pipeline sales businesses so much faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned accountability partner. I'm gonna take a sidetrack and give a funny anecdote of something that happened because I ran into an old accountability partner of mine this past week. And so this is a couple years back when I was in management, and I get called into a meeting with one of our VPs with like 3 or 4 other people. I had no idea what it was about, and it was scheduled. Let's just say it's for 2:00. And I was very active when I was in leadership. I would always be coaching the people that worked underneath me or with me, not underneath me. I would always be coaching the people that worked with me. I'd be listening to their calls live, you know, in their cubicles,
Sure.
desk, giving them coaching. So I didn't have my calendar printed up in my hand. I didn't have my my phone in my hand to give me my calendar either. So I'm sitting there and like all of a sudden like these people are looking all over for me. Where's Scott? Where's Scott? And it turns out like it was a meeting to introduce ourselves to our new accountability partner. So I had this partner that I had never met before. Like literally where I'd go to this meeting with one of the big wigs at our company and like I'm just completely no showing it. I'm like Fishman, like what the hell's going on? And it was like luckily I was in the middle, they found me, I was in the middle of coaching somebody and actually, giving them live coaching on a call. But it was just so funny to me. Like, here I am, this guy who I'm meeting for the first time that's supposed to hold me accountable. And I can't go up to a simple meeting with like literally my boss's boss's boss.
That's awesome. So did you end up being accountability partners with that person?
Yeah. We did a lot of good work together, and it was funny, but I had never met the guy, I knew of him, and he had never met me. And here I am just completely like losing it, just not showing up.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, I think accountability is huge. I mean, and I think we've talked about this on a past show, but I just lost 18 pounds, gained a few back, but whatever. And the best way to do it for me was I happened to be at a meeting with a client who happens to be a buddy of mine. I was saying that I needed to lose some weight. He was saying I need to lose some weight. We were at the exact same weight. And so we came up with an accountability plan where we emailed each other our weight every single day. And then on Fridays, it was you weighed in, and that was your new weight. And if you went above that weight the following Friday, you owe $20 to the pot.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah. And then the person who does my social media found out about it, and then she joined the group too. And so it was great. And I'll tell you, I could not have done it. And then we kind of all got off around like end of summer when the kids got back from camp and, Labor Day, and I gained 5 pounds. So I'm back on it, starting tomorrow.
Yeah. That 5 pounds cost you $20.
It cost me $20. Right. So let's give some tools on how to maybe stay organized. I think to me, if we can give a couple things that people can put into their day. I just want to go back, and I don't even know if they offer this type of class, but I'm 46. When I was 18, my dad enrolled me in a Franklin Planner time management class. And it was one of the greatest things ever. I did not want to take the class, but he made me take it, and it saved me so many thousands of hours when I look back in hindsight. And so I don't even know if Franklin Covey teaches those classes anymore. They may, but it was great. And one of the things it taught me was to do exactly what you said earlier, was kind of at the end of the day, go through your day, move all your to-dos, move all your calendar, and plan for the next day, and really even look at the upcoming week as well. And prioritize it. I still use the following. Prioritize it A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2, which I know sounds very fundamental, but even when I'm taking notes on things and prioritizing, I still use that ABC system.
So give me a definition, like an idea of what's an A.
So an A would be something that is pressing, that has to get done that day. It's a non-negotiable. It's a must do. So an A1 means top priority, top of my list, period, the end. An A2 means, for me, and this is kind of, I started creating my own a little bit definitions. An A2 means equally as important, but can probably get to it by the end of the day. And then a B, and a B means I have the next day or two to do it. And then C means if I can get to it this week, great. If not, I'll get to it next week. And so that's kind of how I articulate it. Yeah.
Let's look at that from a perspective of one of our listeners. So what an A1, I'm assuming, would be an appointment that we have to present or pitch a customer or client.
Correct. Okay. Yes.
An A2 would be we have to do our follow-ups and our prospecting at some point during the day. It's not like we have to do that at 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. or 4 p.m. As long as it gets done during the day, that would be an A2. Is that kind of what it means?
Yes, absolutely.
And then B2 could be just,
read this article, right? Read this article for research, B2, B1. So if I got it done that day, great. If not, I could do it the next day.
Got it. Okay. So working on the business a little bit would be like a B1, B2.
Correct. Yes.
And then C would be make sure you wait by the end of the week.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like
Make sure you what?
Lose weight by the end of the week.
I missed
Don't want
that.
to
Yeah.
cost yourself $20.
Right. Exactly. But yeah. So, and again, sometimes, you got to, adjust it to how those work for you and what your A, B's, and C's are. But yes, well articulated.
Well, I think it's funny because you and I, in this respect, are like the odd couple because you are like one of the most organized people I know, and you have like literally everything. You come over, you've got your book. You even come to my house, and you have a basket of notes at my house. So I know exactly what's going on with John. Whereas I'm like the organized chaos guy. Like I don't have like a Franklin plan. I don't have anything like that. But legitimately, there's a guy, shout out to Harvey, who trained me in the mortgage business, who taught me this. I literally have a legal pad. It's one legal pad that I use, and I just roll through it consistently. And I keep one at my desk in the office. I keep one at my desk at home. And it's literally, I write the date, what's going on, here's what I have to do today. And next to each item, I put a dash, like a minus sign. And then when it's done, I turn it into a plus. I know it's been done.
Oh, that's a good one.
And I know what's gone on. I know who I have to return a phone call to. I know everything that's open. Then I know when it's closed. And then I roll it through the next day if there's anything that has to roll through. But what's neat about that is I literally have legal pads, dating back years that I can look at. If they ever shut off my leads and said, hey, you've got to find business, I've got legal pads with people's names, numbers, all this stuff for years.
Wow.
But it's, again, it's organized chaos because it is not an A1, A2, B2, whatever. It is legitimately just a glop of shit on paper that is semi-indecipherable because my penmanship is horrible, but it's there and I use it. So I guess the big thing is it's not necessarily how you do it. If you find the way that works for you, it's just fucking do it.
Right. Absolutely. Right. Find the way that works for you to maximize everything you do. I mean, I love the way you do what you do. I couldn't do it because in my brain is filled with chaos. So if I don't get it on paper and put it somewhere, it just rinse repeats in my brain. So for my brain, I have to do it in an organized fashion, which, by the way, is not always easy for me, but I have to do it in order for my brain to calm down and relax and get focused.
Right. I know you have some more specialized software that you use for a lot of things, and I want to touch on that a little bit, and I want to share what I use. And it kind of plays right into my whole organized chaos thing of just get it down so it's usable. Is I use something called Google Keep, and it's one of the Google Docs type.
Yeah, I love Google Keep. Yeah.
And basically you could do lists, you could take pictures in it, you can do notes, you could do sketches, you can do doodles, you could do whatever. It's just kind of like a notebook, and it transfers over because obviously you can log in Google on your computer. If you type stuff in, then it's on your phone. I mean, Apple does all the same crap too, but this is just, to me, a godsend because my grocery list goes on there, and you can, it's got boxes. Next to cucumbers, there's a box. When you put the cucumber in your cart, you press it and it checks it off. It's there. So There's a lot of things that it's good for, and it's free, number one, which is great because you can be cheap. I'm pretty frugal when it comes to using apps and software. And number two, it's cross-platform. So it's on everything I have. Even I loaded up an old Android watch, which I haven't used in years yesterday, and frankly, it stinks. But I had Google Keep on my wrist, which is kind of cool. So
that is good. I love Google Keeps. I do use that for some documents. But what I use is the things that kind of keep me organized are I use an app called Todoist, Todoist. It sits on my phone. It sits on my computer. It sits on my iPad. I can access it anywhere online or on my apps. And it basically is a to-do list on steroids. And what I do also is for my email, I am a big fan of Inbox Zero. And what I like about Todoist is when I get an email, I can email it to my Todoist to-do list, and it gets put immediately in my to-do list. And so it doesn't have to sit in my email box.
So email it to your to-do list and Todoist, and it gets added to your to-do list.
Correct. So then all I have is my calendar that tells me kind of what I'm doing for the day. My email box doesn't get lost in as another kind of, because I think a lot of times people use email as a calendar or as a reminder to do things or as another glorified to-do list, because people will send them emails of things and they kind of leave it in there. So I either get an email, put the event in my calendar, and if I have to do a follow-up, instead of leaving it in my email box, I email it to my to-do list where to the appropriate day. So my inbox, my email box is always, especially by the end of the day, completely empty, and everything is organized in my calendar or my to-do list only.
So I actually do have a question about Inbox Zero, because I know you've studied this a little bit and kind of looked into it. So are you saying that there is nothing, like when you open up your email, there's nothing there? Or do you have you answered everything?
I will have answered everything. For example, like when I woke up this morning, the only emails that were in my email box were what got put in there, what's been in there since last night.
Got it.
And then I will respond to everything same day and reply. And then if there's another follow-up, then I will email myself my to-do list or add to my to-do list that I need to follow up, or put in my calendar that I need to follow up on a specific day. But I don't let it sit in my email. So like if, a lot of times people will respond to an email today and say, hey Fish, boom, 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 I'm on top of it. And then they leave it in their email list, touch base with you in 2 weeks on this. So I don't leave that in my email box. I make a to-do about it, or I'll put a reminder in my calendar to follow up with you on X, Y, and Z. And then when you forward something to Todoist, it also forwards any attachment and it includes the entire email string into the to-do list. So if you send me an email with an Adobe attachment, an Excel spreadsheet, or this and the other, and there's a whole string, it forwards and includes that on my to-do as you open up the comments on the to-do
it's interesting
piece. Yeah.
Because I'm an email, again, organized chaos with what I do. I legitimately, like, my goal is never to have anything bold. And what I mean by that is never have anything unopened. It's just the way I've always done it. And I address it just kind of like with the legal pad. Like,
yeah.
I know that if it's not bold, I've addressed it. So like if I open something and I haven't had the ability to research for the answer or whatever, I mark it as unread and leave it unread in my inbox. So
right.
That way I know it has to be addressed. But just like my notepad, my inbox, I literally, no lie, because I work remotely, I had an email from our technology team, you need to delete some stuff, because I had emails just in my main inbox that is like my unfiltered, because I do have filters set for my email, but in my main email box, I had an email going back 14 months.
Yeah.
I do that. I'm a big cover your ass guy. Like I want
sure.
a client to come back and say, hey, you told me this. I'm like, no, I know I didn't, because here's the email chain. By the way, here's the same question you asked 6 months ago with the same answer that you're asking again that I'm going to give you 6 months later. So I keep everything. So I cut it down to a 6-month thing, but
yeah. I do too, Fish, by the way. I keep all my emails. I just put them in files.
Gotcha.
And, mark them as read, put them in a file, and then I'll go to it if I need to respond again.
I think I need to automate that. That's something to look into. It's a project for the day.
Yeah.
So,
but for me, yeah, go ahead.
Just real quick while we're on it, do you think Todoist is the name? And this is just such a 1849 moment, but do you think the name Todoist is like to-do list without an L? Because I never picked up on that until you started saying a nursery rhyme about adding to-do lists to your Todoists.
You know what? I never actually thought about it, because to me, it's just Todoist, but it sounds like if I had to dissect it, it does look like it's Todoist list without the L.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, I guess so. I never really paid attention, because the name is so odd to me that it just kind of flows when I speak. But it's been a huge game changer for me. When I had my Franklin Planner, when the Palm Pilot came out, I got a Palm Pilot, and I remember going from my Franklin Planner that would take me 1 to 2 hours at the end of every day to transfer all my stuff to a Palm Pilot, and it saved me 2 hours a day. It was the greatest. And so I feel, for me, Todoist is a very similar to-do list application that saves me a tremendous amount of time and allows me to focus, and saves me a lot of energy from not having to skip around to too many things. For me, for my brain, on how I work.
I will share with the power of using technology that John was the first one to know everybody's birthday on their birthday and tell you happy birthday. I mean, there was no Facebook to say, hey, it's John's birthday today. John had everyone's birthday in his calendar on his Palm Pilot, and he knew everything.
Right. And it was something called, and AC always makes fun of me still to this day about it, because it was called Redo.
Yeah.
And so it would redo, the app would redo every year on or every day, whatever you needed to do on a daily basis. Yeah. I use my to-do list so much on my Palm Pilot, and I would use Redo so many things of my daily things that I wanted to do, that my Palm Pilot froze and died one day. And I called tech support, and they said, you have so many deleted to-dos on your Palm Pilot that you've reached the max. Like, we've never seen anybody reach this many, deleted to-dos. So I had to do I had to do a hard reboot or something and get rid of a ton of stuff. But I've always been a big to-do list person.
You might have wanted to consolidate lather, rinse, and repeat to just wash it instead of having all three in there.
Probably. But I do think I want to go back to something you said, right? It doesn't matter what I say, what you say. It does matter that everybody just picks something and does it because there is so much wasted time in not having a system. And it doesn't matter what your system is. You got to pick it, and you got to look at whatever you're doing and evaluate it, and always be growing and figuring out a better way to do it. I'm always on a constant quest to figure out how to better maximize my time and my efficiencies, and how I can use technology or paper. It doesn't matter what it is, but I am a big believer that everybody who's listening can save a minimum of 30 minutes a day if they just look at the way that they're spending their time, putting their attention to certain things, and overutilizing technology or not using it enough. And so I challenge everybody today to really look at what they're doing and think about, how can you do what you're doing in maybe half the time?
Right. And think about this. If you save 30 minutes a day, and we talk about, let's just go, however, 365 days, that's 11,000 minutes in a year.
It's a lot of minutes.
That's a lot of minutes. Divide that by, so that's 182 hours.
Right. Divide that by 40. That's over a month.
Yeah.
Month and a half. Yeah. Month and 20 hours ish.
That you can add right back into your life.
Yeah.
How much more can you get done?
And just the energy of not having to think about certain things. It's just, that takes up a lot of space and time too. So everybody can be more productive. Me, you, we all can. So dive into it. Yeah. The time is now.
The time is now. My challenge to everybody is just to make a plan if you don't have one. John spends his time. He says he's bettering himself every single time. For me, the challenge is actually having a plan and utilizing it. That's literally it. It's not flying by the seat of my pants, because we were talking about something earlier, like making a decision and going with something. The more stuff that you say, oh, I'll do it later, it ends up being you can literally you can add little 5-minute things to your life, the honey-do list, so to speak, that you say, oh, I'll just get to that later. I'll get to that later. I'll get to that later. And then before you know it, you've got days worth of crap that you need to catch up on just because you're putting these minute little things off. So get them onto your to-do list. Use to-do-list with your to-do list on to-do list, and just go ahead and make it happen. Put something on there, check it off.
Right. Just the adrenaline rush of that. I just want to comment on something real quickly, what you're saying about just doing it. I'm reading a book right now by Mel Robbins, who is the most booked speaker in the world. She is unbelievable. And she wrote a book called The 5-Second Rule. So I just started it. It's unbelievable. I'm reading it and I'm listening to it on Audible, because I just learn better when I do things like that. And basically the rule is very simple. When you get up to do something, you have 5 seconds to convince yourself not to do it or to do it. The whole principle is based on that. I highly recommend the book, and I highly recommend that everybody take the 5 seconds to do something that is positive instead of coming up with an excuse.
Right. And you mentioned something. You mentioned the adrenaline and endorphin rush of actually checking the box and getting something done. I've heard people talk about getting up and making your bed. Just completing little tasks. It really does. It gets your day going. So make sure that you're actually doing something, not putting stuff off.
I never make my bed, and I just the other day put a calendar reminder every day to make my bed when I get up, because there's all these studies that I've been looking at that if you make your bed, which takes 30 seconds, if you make your bed before you leave the house in the morning, you are so much more productive and focused.
I like it.
Yeah. All right, everybody, make your bed.
Make your bed. All right, everyone, thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. Last episode had a ton of downloads, so we know there are people out there listening, and we're happy. Please don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and buy our products.
Yeah. And thanks, everybody. I mean, we were blown away. I just want to we were blown away by the number of downloads last week. So thank you so much. And the feedback and the downloads have been amazing. So thanks very much. And Fish, as always, it's a blast doing this with you. And every time we do one of these, from you, I learn a ton. So thank you for all your shares.
Likewise. Thank you, man. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Now, no excuses. It's time to put everything you listen to into action. Stop bullshitting yourself. Stop lying to yourself. Stop listening and doing nothing with this information. Take this information, implement it into your day, kick some ass, grow your business, grow your sales, make more money, have more fun, have a better life, period. The end.
What he said.